Hey guys, so today I am showing you the first video of the 3 engagement exercises that I had mentioned in my post on Monday. So the 3 engagement exercises that we are going to be talking about are number 1, crittering, number 2, tap and turns, number 3 are pass-bys. So all of these exercises should be done in order. So you don't want to move on to your tap and turns or your pass-bys until your crittering is absolutely perfect. You also don't want to move on to your pass-bys until your tap and turns are perfect. So each of these exercises depend on you mastering the exercise beforehand because it's different levels of engagement. So you want to get your engagement by giving your dog the most help during crittering. And your dog really needs to learn this step first before he can go on to tap and turns. Because when you do your tap and turns, you're expecting just as much engagement from the dog, but you're giving them a little bit less guiding, teaching, helping, and you're expecting them to do it more on their own. So if your crittering is imperfect, then your dog doesn't truly understand what you're asking when you move on to your tap and turns. So really make sure that you master each step first before moving on to the next step. So another thing I want to mention is that all these exercises are done using remote collar. So we start very, very low at the dog's working level, whatever that happens to be. And when we're holding our continuous button during crittering, we're dialing up very slowly until we get to a level that is relevant to the dog. He turns, comes towards us, and as he's committed to coming back to us, we are releasing the button on our remote collar. So it's really important to note we're not allowing the dog to fixate turning the collar up and then just hitting the button. That's what we're not doing. That's how you end up pushing a dog up into an explosion. What we're doing is using modern low-level remote collar training. We're starting low at the dog's working level, and we're only increasing to the point where we get the dog's attention and we become more relevant to the dog than the distraction. At that point, when the dog turns, faces us, we're cheering him on back to us and he's coming back, then we're releasing the button. Now this is going to be different for every dog in every situation. If you have a calm dog, your numbers are going to be lower. If you have a more exciting situation that you're crittering off, your numbers are going to be higher. And the way I explain this is that it's very similar to us having a conversation. If we're having a conversation in a very quiet room, we can almost whisper to each other and we can hear each other. But if we are then trying to have that same conversation in like a really loud nightclub, we have to increase our volume just to communicate. So when your dog is highly distracted, it's like they're standing in a nightclub and you're trying to talk to them. And the only way you can do that is if you turn up the volume. So that's why you are slowly increasing the numbers on your remote collar. All right, enjoy the video.
Hi there. So today I want to share with you an exercise called crittering. This is an exercise to help you get your dog's engagement. So Doug is going to be helping me here. Down the street we have a relatively calm dog with a handler, and they're just going to provide us with a distraction. So what Doug and I are going to do is we're going to approach that dog, but we're not going to let Doug get beyond his threshold. So what a threshold is the level of pressure that the dog can take before he starts reacting to the dog or whatever he is reactive to. So it could be a person, it could be anything that a reactive dog reacts to. You know, when they get in that frame of mind where they're lunging, barking, exploding, that would be above the threshold of what the dog is comfortable with. So it's just the edge of his comfort zone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take him right to that edge of his comfort zone, right to the edge of his threshold. He's going to look at the dog, start to fixate, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up and I'm going to call him off the distraction. So we're going to use very low levels on the remote collar. We're going to start at a 6. When he gets fixated, I'm going to hold my button down at a 6. And as I call him, I'm going to slowly dial up. So I am going to dial up until the pressure that he's feeling from the e-collar is slightly greater than the pressure he's feeling from the dog. So whatever that number may be, it could be a 12, it could be an 8, it could be a 40, I don't know. It will depend on Doug and how fixated he is. And it'll change every time depending on the distraction. So more exciting distractions require higher numbers on the e-collar before your dog will even notice you communicating with him. So I do this over and over until the dog is more engaged with me than he is with whatever is distracting him. So this is called crittering, and it's a really great engagement exercise to do with your dog. So this is the first step. So that's how you do crittering. So the reason why you want to do crittering is because it is a way that you can show your dog how they can create space between something that they're bothered by. So when another dog is approaching Doug head on, he feels very uncomfortable and he feels very pressured and threatened by that dog. So by teaching him that we're only going to go to the edge of your comfort zone and then we're going to create space for you, he soon becomes very, very comfortable with being in close proximity of other dogs. So we're going to do this over and over and over until he stops having that big explosive reaction that reactive dogs get when they do the lunging and they do the barking.